Street Fighter League Season 3 continues. We had an amazing under and main event today. I mean, personally, I just was happy to see Punk get some game in once again on the Street Fighter League set, along with 801 Strider, which I'm super happy to see back. We also had Toy going up against Justakid in an earlier undercard match.
Oh man, he put him in place real quick.
He definitely put him in place
real quick.
So let's talk about a little bit about that just from the beginning. Toy versus Justakid. Did that play out the way that you think? For me, I was looking at more of Justakid to run the jury, so I was already out right there. But what were some of your thoughts from it?
You mentioned it earlier. We both initially thought that Justakid was coming into the set with Jury. I think it would have been a lot closer than what we have seen. If anything, I think Justakid would have had... I thought he was going to beat Toy, honestly, if it was Jury versus Bison. I do like his Jury, the way he's been evolving that character. But again, we saw that Seth, and he's looking for the bigger picture, and we respect that, having that counter pick. But Toy, again, being the veteran that he is, talking that talk and making sure that he walks the walk as well. We get it, man. I mean, he is the father. He really is the father.
Chest out,
in that exhibition, he really put Justakid in place. It's like, you still got a lot to learn in terms of understanding the mechanics of how Street Fighter V works, dissecting your characters, and learning these matchups. Because I just played fundamental Toy. I wasn't even playing like fundamental Street Fighter. I was playing fundamental Toy. I was getting in your head. I really didn't think it was going to be that raw, but, you know, again, it's a character that Justakid's still experimenting with, so shout outs to Toy for keeping him in check. I respect it.
This is an exhibition match, so, I mean, of course, there's some error to be like, you know what, let me see if this person knows this much. Let me get a read on their knowledge about these characters, the game overall, so that was really good. Once again, shout outs to both of those guys, but Toy was the winner of the set. Right after that, we had Punk go up against 801 Strider. Started off pretty clean for 801 Strider, and then Punk was like, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm the alpha. Turns it all the way back on. Running Seth himself on top, but we had two Seths today. Right. 801 Strider, still rocking the G, but he's going up against Punk's Seth. I definitely did not see that coming, but even more so, the fact that Punk won, I'm not surprised. Just the fact that he has the ability to, you know, play these characters that fit him so well. All these different characters that he plays, he's able to kind of like, you know, turn them into something that he can use. Seth is no different. What are your thoughts about today's set?
Punk can play anybody. I'm pretty sure we all know that at this point. Two, if they ever fight, which they will in the season for Season 3, let's talk about the matchup. Alpha 3 versus All In. If you look at it per player, I think the best shot that All In might have against someone like Punk is trying to match up iDom against him, right? Because historically, you saw what happened to Capcom Cup, right? So I think it'll come down to really reading what the lineup is going to be like. Player order is going to be absolutely vital in that specific matchup when it comes to Alpha 3 versus Team All In.
Well, we're definitely going to get there. We're definitely going to see that match this season on Street Fighter League, so I can't wait to get there. But to let you know who else we might be seeing during Street Fighter League, I'm going to run down these teams one more time. We're going to start with Team NASR joining Street Fighter League for the first season, and they're bringing Bigbird and Angrybird, and joined by someone who was infamous in Street Fighter League, Samurai.
Ooh.
Of course, we have UYU joining, and that's going to be Oil King, NL, and Kami. All In will consist of iDom, Phenom, and 801 Strider. Alpha 3, we just saw the Captain Punk with CJ Truth and Nephew. Psycho Shinobi will be Hot Dog, Infexious, and Xian. And then, of course, Team Dynamite will be Problem X, NuckleDu, and Smug. And personally, man, I really can't wait till we get to the main part of the season and we get a chance to see these guys tear each other apart.
No, I'm absolutely excited. We have so many weeks of Street Fighter to watch, and it's going to be one of those things where it's like we're watching a premiere event every single week because of the talent involved.
Team Alpha 3. We saw Punk earlier today. How do you think his team is going to do overall versus CJ Truth, a Nephew? I mean, we already seen, you know, Punk kind of set the pace with the win over 801 Strider, which I feel like is a big win considering the team that he's on, right? Because now we know that Punk can definitely take out 801 Strider, not with his main, but with a side character.
Who would you actually ban for either of these teams? I personally wouldn't go for Punk, and I wouldn't go for iDom.
I wouldn't either. I would not either. But I said this last season. I was like, I would never ban Punk. I want him to play his character because then I know exactly who I can go after, right? Like in all honesty, Punk is the byproduct. If I'm in this competition, I'm saying, well, look, we could or could not beat Punk. There's no reason in wasting a ban on him. Let's
100%.
go to somebody that we know would have a harder time switching those characters. That's why I feel like All In is very strong, right? Because like All In has iDom, they all have basically 2 characters at this point. And 801 Strider being the loosest of that one, he still has a Lucia and possibly a Laura.
Nice.
So like, think about that.
All right, pick one. All In, who would you ban?
Who would I ban? I ban Strider. Free. I would ban Strider free.
I do like that as well.
Think about it just like this, right? 801 Strider, you have to fight that team. iDom, you know he's gonna pull out Laura or Poison.
Yes.
That's a guaranteed thing. You don't even have to worry about it. Phenom is another thing. You don't want to ban any of his characters. He's too good. You gonna give him a reason to pick Guile? You gonna give him a reason to switch characters? No, I'm gonna let him rock. I would have a much better understanding of the matchup knowing he would pick one of the other 2 characters. 801 Strider, on the other hand, I get to him and I'm like, well, I don't even look. As much as I don't like fighting G, I can handle G because I fight Gs, right?
Yeah, the neutral game is so much, it's a drastic difference between what Laura can do in neutral and what G can do in neutral. And the amount of robbery that G has compared to Laura off of a command grab is way different circumstances. Now let's switch over to Alpha 3. I'm gonna say on the count of 3, you give us your pick, or we'll give our
who
picks
I would ban on Alpha 3?
Yeah. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nephew.
CJ Truth. I like that. I like that a lot. Here's my reasoning.
Okay.
So we've seen CJ Truth play Cammy a lot. We've seen him kind of try out his secondaries in season 2. He hasn't had too much success with it. But Nephew, I feel like we mentioned how much of a sponge he is and being able to adapt on the fly. I think he also has had a lot of practice with secondaries. And if anything, he could go to a character like G if he needs to. And he's G. He's a very, very solid character, very competent character.
I'm going to aim for Nephew, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like, CJ Truth is good, but that's a character that we've been fighting Cammy since season 1.
And she's still great.
She's still good, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. But I hear what you're saying about the fact that, CJ Truth he's more focused on Cammy. I feel like if I put Nephew in the hot seat, that he's more likely to fold than CJ Truth. That's just me though.
Word.
And I don't mean like fold as in like I'm gonna take him out. I mean as in like if I can get him flustered or if I can get him, I know what I'm dealing with on the other end.
Okay.
I'm not worried about like, we took out what's the name in his main character, but we didn't stop these other 2. Now it's like literally like, well look, we're probably gonna have to fight a Karen. We're probably gonna have to fight a Cammy, but we have this one. We have this one, and now we can make our plan based off of that.
Fair.
So,
yeah, that makes sense.
it's a 2-pronged approach. You can definitely do both of those things, and who knows? We both actually still might lose. The fact of the matter is that that's a part of the season 3 plan, right? As a captain, you have to worry about the matchups. You have to worry about the players, and even as a player, you have to worry about those matchups. You're looking at who can play what and who's gonna have to deviate. And even the strategy between us is different. Where you're like, well, hey, look. I'm just gonna hit NuckleDu. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna hit
I'm
Nephew.
thinking about it on paper, whereas I'm not thinking about the characters and how solid they are, or the players and how solid they are with their own mains, right?
Yeah.
So it's different kind of levels we're thinking about. So,
and that's what you get.
That's the best part about it.
That's the best part. I keep trying to tell people, like, it's more than just looking at these characters. It's more than just being like you're looking at these players. You have to do that together, and then you have to have a team to back that up. And I feel like that's one of the best examples we have. These teams are like composed so well. The international pool does so much to add a little flavor to what Street Fighter League is, and I personally cannot wait. And with that being said, I feel like we were talking way too much. We got pretty deep in there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But next week we have our undercard and main event matches just to go over them one more time. Mr. Crimson will be going up against Luffy in our first undercard match. The main event will be Problem X versus Infexious, and I guarantee you guys do not want to miss it.
Former Evo champion, knows what it takes to succeed, and just having that kind of, like the amount of accolades he's had since Street Fighter 5, or even 4, right, into Street Fighter 5, is going to be kind of like a tall order for Mr. Crimson, right? I mean, I'm not saying that he's not going to be able to do it. It's just going to be very, very, very difficult with the likes of 1, Luffy, great mind of Street Fighter, 2, R. Mika versus Dawson. It's kind of problematic.
But that's the undercard. The main event will be Problem X versus Infexious. Problem X is an evolution champion, one of the best players in the world. You will never hear me say anything different. I've seen this dude play so many characters. I am so interested to know what he's going to do in a format like Street Fighter League. But he's going up against the Alchemist, I like to call him, man.
Alchemist.
Infectious, bro. This dude can make something out of nothing, and when he understands it, he talks about it like it was born to him. Like he instantly knew it. He is so good at breaking down matchups, understanding his character, and on top of that, he has such a cool, calm demeanor that it's really hard to get a rise out of him.
It's intimidating.
It's so intimidating that literally, if you go back and watch his Red Bull Kumite entrance, he walked down a line of people and left everybody hanging. He was just walking. It was like a Spike Lee movie. He was just walking and nobody touched him. It was crazy, but that's what you get from a player like him. And it's not only outside the game, it's inside the game. That's the exact kind of gameplay that he gives you. That stone, stoic, robotic gameplay, that's what you get from Infectious. He operates like a computer. He knows exactly what he's trying to do. And personally, that versus Problem X,
it's going to be a good amount of information without a doubt. Again, I want to see how these two teams duke it out. Infectious versus Problem X. Again, it brings to the table what is Infectious going to do if he's ever a target of the ban. And again, if he gets to play his main character, how will he do against a team captain like Problem X?
That's another question. I think that's something we need to ask them. I mean,
we'll think about it for a solid week.
We definitely need to ask them that ourselves. And you guys should be asking, where else should you be instead of watching Street Fighter League? And this is only the preseason. This is all speculation. This is what we write down on a piece of paper to be thrown away later, only for the show to be that much better. That's what Street Fighter League is. I really hope you enjoyed this week's show. This is still the preseason. We will see you guys next week.
Everything works.
If you would have got hit with that DP, that was it.